After spending the last few years moving between Canada and South America, I've come to realize something very important. Environment shapes behavior much more than many people realize. Same person, different country, different pace, different pressure, different version of yourself. This isn't about saying one place is perfect and another one sucks, one place is great and another one is not so great. It's about paying attention to the systems and environments in which we live and realizing how much they shape our daily lives. Hola, bienvenidos amigos. Hello and welcome friends. Steve here, Street Smart Travel, coming at you from Peterborough again today. It's about 9 degrees Celsius, gray. Thankfully not very windy today, but also not very nice. And this is mid-May. We're at May 14 today, and it feels like the middle of October. High costs create high pressures, and this is one of the big differences that I notice between the West and the global South, Ecuador in this case. So for here, all the costs of living are going way up. You got housing, so rent or your mortgage, you got food, you got insurance, you got transportation, groceries, fuel, everything keeps escalating. I've got friends telling me stories of their friends who work full-time and have to go to the food bank because they can either afford to pay their monthly bills or they can afford to buy food, but they can't do both. These are working people. What has life come to in the West when it costs that much that you can't survive without relying on social assistance of some kind to be able just to feed yourself, just basic survival? And even people that have assets, that have money, they're feeling the pinch. Everybody notices how much more it costs now. Gas is almost at $1.90 a liter. I've never seen it that high in my life. I've lived in this country for 50 years. Friends are constantly talking about the cost of living, about what kind of future are their kids going to have, what kind of world are they going to inherit. I don't see any opportunity, and I don't like saying this, but I don't see any opportunity for anybody under the age of 40 to be able to buy a house in a big city in Canada in their lifetime. The best they can hope for is maybe grandma and grandpa or mom and dad leave them a house when they pass on. But even then, are they going to be able to afford the carrying costs, the insurance, the maintenance, the property taxes? It's a bleak picture economically. I feel badly for younger people. There's a mentality of survival mode. And here in Peterborough, I was amazed, and not in a good way, at the amount of homelessness. And you see them passed out all the time on the street. They're doing whatever homeless people do. Sometimes they're living in tents, sometimes they're living in bus shelters, just doing whatever they can do, literally to survive. And a lot of my friends are feeling the pinch. They're not going to end up on the streets, but they're making a lot of changes in their lifestyle so that they can afford to maintain their lifestyle, cutting out things that are kind of nice to haves but not need to haves. There's a lot of financial pressure and stress, and there's no room for enjoyment. At the end of the week, people are so tired because they've been working so hard, and they have no money left over. So basically, people are being priced out of their own lives in their own country. In stark contrast to my expenses in Ecuador last year, between Ecuador and Colombia, I spent less than 3,000 Canadian dollars for the entire year living down there. Volunteering, my room and board was covered, so I'm paying sometimes entertainment, transportation, a little bit of food here and there, the visa to get to Colombia, and costs like this. I couldn't get through a month here on $3,000 Canadian. It's amazing the difference. And the quality of life that I enjoy for the life that I've designed for myself in Ecuador, I enjoy it much more than I enjoy my life here. I've got a lot of friends here, I got family here, I love seeing them when I come back. But when I'm ready to go back down to Ecuador because I know my quality of life, the quality of food is going to be higher, the weather is better, people are way more relaxed. All of the important things for me down there check all the boxes. And it's not perfect. They got a lot of problems in Ecuador. But at the end of the day, I feel much happier being down there. Now, physical environments strongly affect your mental clarity. Here in the cities in Canada, you've got all kinds of noise, traffic, stress, people just really not enjoying themselves. They're going through the motions, they're doing what they need in order to survive. There's advertising all over the place, constantly vying for your attention, whether that's online or billboards or flashing screens. Everything is competing for your attention. And as soon as something grabs your attention, it's no longer your own. Now in Ecuador, I'm in a very different environment. I'm always surrounded by nature, usually more animals and plants than people. A much slower pace of life, much more relaxed. That consumer culture doesn't exist in the same way there. People aren't constantly grinding and trying to climb this ladder to get to the top rung for whatever reason. People make time to make the money they need to make so they can support their family and pay whatever they need to pay. And then they make time to enjoy time with their family, with the community, doing things they enjoy doing. And then I come up here and everybody's like, oh, I need to get this degree and I have to get this kind of job and I have to be making this kind of money. I need a house that's like this and a car that's like that and a spouse that's like, for what? Is that what you want? Or you're just trying to impress people? It's a very, very different environment and it creates two totally different experiences of living. The life that I live down there is incredibly simple. I stripped everything out of my life in Ecuador last year and managed to live between Ecuador and Colombia on less than 3,000 Canadian dollars for the year. It's about 2,122 US dollars in total. I'm volunteering, I got room and board covered, so I'm not really paying for much of anything. And that was an extreme year. I'm not saying, hey, everybody can do this, because it took me 3 years to get to that level. I'm not sure I want to stay there or go back there, but I know it can be done because I did it. And I know I didn't feel deprived. I was enjoying my life on my own terms. I was just focusing on other things that didn't involve economics and finances, and I need to have this much money. There's a lot more presence to the life that I live down there, a lot more conscious energy put into this is the kind of life I want to live, these are the experiences I want to have. This is what's important to me. All this material stuff doesn't matter to me at all. I don't have anything down there except the bags that I'm traveling with. Take a look at your life and the environment in which you're living and tweak it so that it better fits the life that you want to live versus this is the default that everybody has to fit themselves into. Now, Ecuador is not perfect by any measure. There's all kinds of problems. There's still blackouts going on. I have no idea how that's possible in 2026. There's a lot of issues with the narcos. There's an ongoing state of emergency that was declared in January 2024 that still in May 2026 is ongoing. That's a huge issue. There's flooding. There's infrastructure problems. Last year, there were immense wildfires all over South America. There's always problems down there. They don't really affect me that much because if there's a problem in the north, I just go to the coast or the jungle or somewhere else. I don't have anything holding me in one specific location. My nervous system and my body respond differently down there. I've been up here in Canada for 5 weeks now, and my gut is a mess. Not going to get obscenely biological, but let's just say it's not good. My body is not rejecting food, but it's asking me like, oh, why are we eating this? Like, this is horrible. Let's get back to the other stuff we were eating down there that doesn't have all the chemicals and all the GMOs and whatever it is they're doing to the food supply here. If you live here and you experience it day to day, it's not that harsh. But when you come from somewhere where the food is a lot more natural and the water's cleaner and the air's better, and you come here, 5 weeks, I still am not back to anything resembling normal. And my body is not happy about that. I'm not sleeping well. I don't feel horrible, but I don't feel as good as I feel when I'm down in Ecuador. Environment quietly shapes your behavior every day. That can be financial environment, that can be your work environment, your home environment, relationships, your health, everything. Consciously look at your environment and make sure that it is taking you closer to where you want to go versus pushing you further away. Different systems create different emotional baselines. Now, Canada, to me, feels rushed. Everybody's in a hurry. People are always stressed. The cost of living keeps going up. People are really preoccupied with maintaining their lifestyle. Scheduling is really tight. There's no margin. There's nothing left at the end of the week. People don't have money, let alone energy, to go out and enjoy themselves. And that really restricts how much you're going to be able to enjoy your life. There's no spontaneity. There's no joy. It's all grind, grind, grind. Go to work, make the money, pay the bills, make sure you can pay for the kids' dance lessons or whatever it is kids are doing these days. It's a very stressful way to live. By contrast, in Ecuador, when I'm down there, and I should say I created a much different environment for myself. You can find big cities and not really as stressful, but places that are polluted. There's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of noise, but my lifestyle down there, I spend a lot of time in the campo, in the countryside, or down in the jungle, the coast, up in the mountains. I move around a lot, and I really enjoy that lifestyle. And for me, it's way more relaxed. It's a slower rhythm. There's much more human connection and human interaction. It's a very tactile society, very tactile culture. People are hugging all the time or touching each other. And here I see people, nobody touches anybody. You might shake somebody's hand, but that's it. I look forward to going down to Ecuador every time when I'm leaving Canada. I can't wait to get back down there. My entire physiology relaxes. That's not just Ecuador, but that's where I've been spending most of my time. So as a comparison between Canada and Ecuador, I feel way more relaxed. My stress level goes way down. I can feel my blood pressure going down. My entire body relaxes, and all my routines change. So when I'm in Canada, I'm in the cities. I'm in Toronto and Hamilton and Peterborough and Kitchener, places like that, visiting friends, doing work on my properties, stuff like that. When I'm in Ecuador, I prioritize getting out of the cities. I don't mind being close to one. I don't mind visiting for a day, but I don't want to spend any amount of time in a big city, anywhere. So the environment that I have up here in Canada is much different from the environment in which I live in Ecuador. A lot of people think something is wrong with them when actually they're just reacting to a stressful and unnatural environment. If you can change your environment even a little bit, so it's more to your liking, so it's less stressful, it's more enjoyable, just keep making tweaks. You can't change everything, but there's little tweaks that you can make along the way. I created a totally different life in Ecuador, and I'm loving it. It's so much better for me in every conceivable way down there. By every important metric, I enjoy my life much more down there. Canada is always going to be my home. It's where I was born and raised. I've got deep roots here. I like coming back to visit, but I don't see any time where I would enjoy living in Canada as much as I enjoy living in Ecuador. Now, people don't need to move countries. That's not the point. The point is awareness. What can you do to tweak your environment, your lifestyle here, to make it more enjoyable for yourself? Can you reduce friction? Can you trim the fat on your budget and cut out things that you don't really need? Spend a lot of time in more natural environments. They don't cost you anything. I'm in a park right now. It doesn't cost me anything to be here. There's a lot of trails. There's places you can go kayaking or cycling or hiking. There's meetup groups out here that I hang out with. We went and played billiards the other day. I think it cost me $10 to play pool for 2 hours. And that adds huge amounts of enjoyment to my life with like-minded people that like to get out and enjoy time in nature. So if money is tight, and it is for pretty much everybody, look at other things you could do that you would enjoy as much or more than going to a ball game or going to see a movie or a concert. You can, as I continue to do, design your ideal life. I don't have a perfect life in Ecuador or here. That's not the goal. I just want to keep improving my life, getting away from the things I don't want in my life, stress, a lack of money, a lack of options, feeling like I'm trapped, and design more things that I do want in my life, more freedom, more choices, the ability to enjoy my life on my terms. That for me, time freedom and the ability to live my life the way I want to, that's been my North Star for literally decades, about 30 years. And it took a long time to get here. And I said, it's not perfect, but it's getting better all the time. Now, many people focus entirely on goals. And it's been my experience that it's equally as important, or even more important, to focus on your environment. Focus on what is shaping your daily behavior and your ability to function and enjoy your life. Travel continues to show me that environments are never neutral. They either support you or they quietly undermine you. There's nothing in between. You don't need to move across the world like I did to improve your life. But you do need to pay attention to the environment that's shaping your life, your mood, your ability to enjoy yourself. That's super important, and I think nobody pays attention to it. Because over time, those forces shape who you become. Any comments or questions, please drop them below. Please like, subscribe, share. Look forward to seeing you next time. Happy trails. See you out on the road next Saturday.